Hey guys, my name is Modi and you are welcome to Modi Speaks. Imagine an Irish person or an English person or an Italian migrating to Cameroon or any other African nation, then launching a list of complaints because the schools in these African nations employ teachers who look like people from these African nations. How dare Cameroonian teachers who actually speak and understand Cameroonian languages be the majority of teachers teaching kids in Cameroonian schools? At least throw in some diversity. Employ a bunch of Russian teachers who can't say a single word in Cameroonian dialect, or force a bunch of Japanese immigrants in Cameroon to become teachers even though they may have no desire to teach in Cameroon. Do something. You have to decolonize the education system in Cameroon. Even though this country is yours, Cameroonians, you still have to decolonize this nation. You are colonizing foreigners who migrated into your country by not making sure that they are properly represented in your education system. Sorry, guys. Now, as inconsistent and as extremely ignorant as that sounds, that is unfortunately the type of situation we're going to be looking at today. But before we dive into the video though, please consider subscribing to the channel if you've not already. Like and share this video to keep people informed, and consider joining my membership or supporting the channel in any way that you can. All right.
I was shocked, but I also really wasn't surprised. Throughout my Irish education, I never had a teacher who looked like me, but I developed the biggest pet peeve for when people decide to blame it on Gaeilge. I can tell you now that Gaeilge is definitely a barrier for people from ethnic minority backgrounds for getting into teaching, but it is not the biggest barrier, in my opinion. Because if it was, there would definitely be more ethnic minorities doing secondary school teaching because there's no Gaeilge requirement there, but the numbers are just as low as they are in primary school teaching. I definitely think one of the issues is representation. The curriculum has only become so diverse in the recent years, and also all of the teachers that children, teenagers are seeing are all white. But also a lot of the treatment of students from ethnic minority backgrounds in education is kind of appalling. So a lot of students from these backgrounds do not want to become teachers because they've had a lot of negative experience with teachers in their life. There's definitely still a lot of unconscious bias from primary school teachers, secondary school teachers, and even in higher education from lecturers. And I definitely will always believe that the diversity of the classroom should definitely reflect in the teaching force. Children should be able to see themselves in their teacher and have relatable experiences. And in order to do this, you need to better the treatment of your migrant/ethnic minority students in your classrooms. And again, this falls into anti-bias and anti-racism training, but also following accounts that help.
So for those of you who don't know the meaning of the word Gaeilge, it simply means the Irish language. Gaeilge simply equals Irish language. Now, from what I understand from her complaints, the problem is not the lack of other ethnicities becoming teachers in Ireland and teaching in Irish schools. Rather, the problem is that there isn't mass population of teachers of other ethnicities, of teachers who are foreigners teaching in Irish schools. So she would like to see something like a 50-50 balance, where 50% of teachers in Ireland are non-Irish individuals and the remaining 50% can be Irish teachers. How bold of her, and how utterly greedy and selfish and entitled. This woman is on Irish soil, okay? For your information, she is on Irish soil. She left whatever country she originated from, made a conscious decision to move to Ireland, knowing full well that Ireland is made up of Irish people, meaning that the food will be Irish, the language Irish, the churches Irish, the culture Irish, the schools Irish, the people Irish, okay? She was aware of all these. She made a conscious choice to leave her own country where she can see herself represented in every sector, but she chose to move to Ireland where Irish natives will see themselves represented. And she has the guts to complain that majority of the people in Ireland are Irish, okay? She is enraged that a greater number of teachers teaching in Irish schools are Irish people. Please make it make sense, okay? The level of these people's entitlement never ever ceased to amaze me. Honestly, it never does. The funniest thing is that she even went on to admit that the lack of ability to speak and write Gaelic is part of the reason why you don't have many foreign teachers in Ireland, because for you to teach in any Irish school, you should at least be fluent in Gaelic. Judging from her accent, no one needs to tell you that she doesn't know a lick of Irish language. She sounds pretty American to me. Now, she hasn't even bothered to learn Gaeilge, the Irish language, and the same thing can be said for the other foreigners who share the same belief as her. She can't even make a sentence in Gaelic, but she is here running her mouth and complaining of how there isn't a huge population of foreigners teaching in Irish schools. And guys, let me remind you what she said here.
But also, a lot of the treatment of students from ethnic minority backgrounds in education is kind of appalling. So a lot of students from these backgrounds do not want to become teachers because they've had a lot of negative experience with teachers in their life.
So even if foreigners from different ethnicities have no passion to become teachers in Ireland, we should somehow blame the Irish people for not forcing them to teach in their schools. That is essentially what she is saying. Oh, the foreigners have no interest in becoming teachers in Ireland, but why isn't the Irish education system forcing them to become teachers? Okay, why isn't the Irish education system hiring uninterested foreigners as teachers and turning away Irish people who passionately want to be and qualify to be teachers? This is so not fair. Mind you, she doesn't even want to feel in the position of being a teacher herself, okay? She doesn't even want to be a teacher in Ireland. I know that because she doesn't have the Irish accent, meaning she hasn't even bothered to learn Gaelic or anything. She also mentioned that the other foreigners, because of the appalling treatment they received from their Irish teachers, appalling treatment which she never expatiated on, they now have no desire to be teachers in Ireland. Yet, she still blames the Irish for the low turnout of foreign teachers in Irish schools. Now, to end all these unnecessary complaints, okay, all I have to do is simply tell her 2 words, and that is, go home. Go home. Imagine the audacity of leaving your country, running away from everyone and everything that looks like you and represents you, then migrating into a different place like Ireland, and then demanding that the whole country metamorphose to represent you. This is entitlement of the highest order. And I blame countries like Northern Ireland for tolerating this sort of rubbish. If you really want to be in an environment where everything represents you and your kind, then remain in your original environment. In this case, remain in your country. Do not migrate to a foreign country that you are not indigenous to, but have been made a citizen as a result of the generosity of that country's policies, and then start demanding to be overrepresented in every sector. And I use the word overrepresented because that is exactly what she's asking for. It is not as though there isn't any black teachers or teachers who are people of color, but she wants their population to equal that of the owners of the country, who are the majority. In this case, the Irish people who are living in Northern Ireland. And also, the argument that students learn better when they are being taught by teachers who look like them is arrant nonsense, okay? Students only learn better when they are being taught by a good instructor or a good teacher. It doesn't matter the gender, skin color, or religion of that teacher. As long as you are good in imparting knowledge, your students will easily learn and understand what you are teaching them. Don't forget that in Africa, we also have teachers who are very light-skinned, teachers who are very darker-skinned, male teachers, female teachers. Yet, these have never influenced the learning abilities of students who fall under the opposite categories of these teachers. Students will always learn better with a teacher who is skilled at teaching than a teacher who represents their ethnicity. So all in all I'm saying is that I am not against people demanding to see themselves represented in certain areas, but don't go all the way to a foreign land and demand to overthrow the local population there. Demand representation there. If you're gonna demand for representation, do that in your own land. If not, just keep quiet. Anyway, guys, these are my thoughts, these are my opinions, but feel free to share yours in the comment section below, but do so respectfully. Also, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, honestly, I don't know what you're waiting for. Subscribe to the channel. Like and share this video to keep people informed, and also consider supporting the channel in any way that you can. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to catch you on the next one. For now, peace.